I have another example for you. Something I noticed, some decisions that players sometimes need to make, and it's very interesting during the picks. Let's say that you open pack one, pick one, and there's one really good blue rare, and there's many white good cards. So in this case, you have two options. You take the blue and wheel nothing, and probably don't know what your next picks will be, or you start with white and maybe see, okay, this guy will be blue, I will have white open, and maybe I will some cards. Do you usually think much about this, like which cards will influence other players to go in this direction, so I will go in the other direction to have an open lane?
Okay, how much better is the best white card than that blue card? So you said there's like a 5 white cards and 1 blue card.
Okay, let's
how
say...
much better?
Let's say, I was going to say a Tameshi, but a Tameshi also has white. Let's say you have the blue dragon, the blue mythic dragon, and then in white you have Mishiku, Imperial, and Imperial Oath, and maybe another Saga and the Lifelink Eye or something like this. So you have really 2 good white cards and then some good white, and you have no blue.
I mean, I think that dragon is better than anything that you mentioned. So I would just be extremely happy that I'm taking the single blue card.
All right.
But let's say the dragon was a bit worse.
Let's downgrade a bit. Let's say a Mind Link mech, for instance.
Well, okay. That's okay. So yeah, I think that white is better than blue. But I do give it a consideration, right? Because you are going to be taking the only card in one color, and you can take more of those cards and just completely cut it. So even people that were thinking about that color maybe are going to switch out, because it's not only about reading signals. That's something that I do consider. I think Michigo is much more powerful than the mech, so I would probably just take it. But if there's a lot of white and they're all really good cards, then maybe I would take the mech, even though I think it's a weaker card, because it is not only about what signals you're receiving. I mean, it's not it's not only about reading the table and so on. It's also about commanding the table.
Right.
It's not you can't just be like a slime. And I don't think bad things about slimes. Like, that's one of my favorite anime, one of the slime ones. So you need to like take how do you say that for the horse? How do you say that?
The reins. Take the
reins.
reins.
Yeah.
Yes.
You need to take the reins in your hands sometimes. You can't just be, okay, I'm going to adapt and I'm going to be so good at adapting, because you're going to be like adapt. That's called drafting the hard way. And that's very important to have in your repertoire as well. But then you're going to be constantly adapting, and then a lot of times it's going to be like, oh, but I tried everything to find the open lane, and I felt like this is open, but in the end it wasn't. And then I kind of, everything got messed up because I was adapting, even though if you're great at it, that's not the only thing that you should be doing. Because, well, you might be reading things, but maybe everybody took few colors. Like, rarely there is going to be 1 or 2 colors that are not getting taken. Like, why would, on pack 1, probably it's not like everybody's going to say, no, I'm not black, for example. Some people are going to be black. There are 8 people, there are 5 colors, and everybody has at least 2 colors in their decks. Maybe
sometimes I find myself saying this. Let's say that you take the blue card in this scenario, and you pass 4 or 3 really good white cards. Yeah. Second pick, more 3 really good white cards, or at least 1 really good white card. And then third pick, you'll get another good white card. At this moment, you think, okay, should I really go white? Because the guy after me is already white, for sure. I passed him so good cards.
And there's like 4 people that got good white cards, right?
But then you have this choice. Should I start investing in this color that seems open, even though there's another guy already, or more than one guy taking it? It's a tough choice.
That really depends, but that's when you got to think about like commanding the table. That's when, like, okay, I maybe put some people in white, yeah, but now I'm going to get them out of white. Because now the only things I'm getting is white. Like, obviously the people on my right that are passing to me are not white. Okay, I know I gave them good white cards, but now I'm gonna, unless every single pack has like 4 good white cards, what can you do?
Yeah.
But I'm going to put him out of white because now my white is pretty good. And I'm going to tell them, hey, you're not getting anything in white. And some of them are going to drop it. Some of them are going to be, okay, goodbye. And by having by only strength of yours, if only strength that you have is adapting, which is extremely important, don't get me wrong, then people are going to open great cards in your color in pack 2. And they're going to be like, oh, wait, this is better than anything I have. Okay, now I'm in that color that was open for you. Like, you're drafting and that was open. But all of a sudden, like 2 people got a rare or something in that color and they switched. And what can you do? They just say, I'm that color and I'm doing that. People have their own minds. But yeah, you force people out of a color and adapt to what you're seeing as well, right? That's why draft is so beautiful.
Yes, and then when the second pack comes, the order shifts. So if you were getting only white from this guy and you were passing the white, suddenly the order shifts, and then the other guy on your left is going to dry you instead, because he's the one picking before you.
Yeah, you can't dry, you can't, you're not going to have a chance in pack 2, in that second pack when it shifts. You're not going to get a chance to cut them out of any color. They're going to be one that are going to be commanding you now. So yeah,
and I find that very interesting, very, very interesting.
But you gotta have both of those, like command the table sometimes, and sometimes adapt to what everybody else is doing. Most of the times, use the boat to your advantage. And in the end, at one point, you gotta make a decision. You gotta be like, okay, I know at least one of my colors, at least 10 of my cards that I'm playing. I know that, and that's what I'm gonna do, and nothing can change what I'm doing. Now, the better you are, the easier it is for you to know when you gotta make that decision. Because in the end, you need to have a 23 card deck plus 17 lands. That's free, everybody gets that. But you need to have that deck, and it needs to be functional. Most of the time, it needs to be really good or good, and you can't wait forever. And also, if you're not adapting at all, then if people just choose to be in your colors, you're gonna have horrible decks sometimes because you're forcing something that everybody else is taking. So